Undoubtedly, Mikel Arteta has done a good job with Arsenal since he took over in December 2019. He won the FA Cup that season. He's also come close twice to winning the Premier League. Now they've been knocked out of the FA Cup by Man United and also suffered defeat in the Carabao Cup first leg against Newcastle. The Premier League title pursuit is under threat and the Champions League looks even more difficult than ever for them. With Arsenal being accused of using dark arts this season and over-relying on set pieces, this is a far cry from the once beautifully aesthetic Arsenal teams of the past that included the great players like Dennis Bergkamp, Patrick Vieira and Thierry Henry. These guys won the most recent Premier League title for Arsenal, but that was now over 20 years ago. Therefore, the question on many fans' lips has been, is Mikel Arteta holding Arsenal back? Is Arteta doing enough for the club to actually win some silverware, or is he destroying Arsenal? When Arsenal wanted to appoint a new coach in the 1920 season, they decided to appoint the inexperienced Mikel Arteta. The reasons for the hire were logical. Arteta had played under Wenger for several years and is seen as a representation of Arsene Wenger's ideas. This feeling was strengthened by the fact that Arteta worked under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City for 3.5 years. So they were confident he would play an attacking style of football that Arsenal had become known for over the years. On top of this, Arteta had a deep connection with the club. He is the kind of personality that will reignite passion for the club from the fans. In recent times, however, there are many more questions than answers. Have Arsenal become toxic? We'll find out later on, so please make sure you stick around, like this video and subscribe to the channel for more football content. Arteta justified his appointment by winning the FA Cup in 2020. Unfortunately, his rejuvenation of the team didn't extend to Europe. The Gunners suffered a shock defeat to Olympiacos in the round of 32, but overall they didn't think it wasn't a bad season. There was much to look forward to in the next campaign, especially with Bukayo Saka tearing it up on the right wing and turning defenders in and out like folding paper. At this time, no one could have thought Saka's emergence would become a problem for Arsenal later on. I know, it sounds crazy to say, but it will become clear later in this video. The club began to slowly offload some players from the team, but overall, the following season was worse than the previous. Arsenal did get to the semi-final of the Europa League this time round, but former boss Unai Emery, who was Villarreal's manager, knocked them out and went on to win the trophy. Arsenal crashed again under Arteta when it mattered, and at that point in time, Arsenal fans wondered if the club had made the right choice. What do you think? Did Arsenal make a mistake by sacking Emery? Talks of trusting the process spread among the Arsenal fan base, and when the 21-22 season began, the consensus of the majority of fans was to believe. However, that belief soon came under threat. From nowhere, drama erupted within the squad that threatened to upset the balance of things. Fans were worried. They had signed the trio of Aaron Ramsdale, Ben White and current captain Martin Odegaard to bring Arsenal even closer to how Arteta wanted them to play. They just wanted a normal day at the club and not their veteran Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and their coach Arteta having a power tussle. Arteta quickly dispatched Aubameyang and was in full control, citing disciplinary reasons for the fallout. Aubameyang felt like he was treated unfairly and that Arteta had too much control. Was he right? And was this a problem for Arsenal? Unfortunately for Arteta, Arsenal stumbled and faltered once again, and Aubameyang hit the ground running at new club Barcelona. Fans and pundits alike questioned his decision to let him go. They were inches from a Champions League spot, but allowed Tottenham Hotspur to qualify instead. Still, fans saw the season as an improvement. It was Arteta's third with the club, and he didn't have a league title to show for it. Comparing him to another young Spanish manager, Xabi Alonso, he won 2 trophies including the league title in his second year at Bayer Leverkusen. It does have to be said, Arsenal were a stronger team even if they were still missing trophies, and for the 22-23 season they strengthened even more. Arsenal signed quality players that significantly uplifted the squad. They signed Alexander Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus from City. They also signed attacking midfielder Fabio Vieira from Portuguese league winners at the time, Porto. William Saliba also returned from a loan in Olympique Marseille. The Gunners fired from all cylinders from the start of the season. They steamrolled the early part of the league and crushed opponents. Then, in January 2023, they signed more players. Arsenal were back. Arteta's tactics were brilliant. He favoured keeping possession and ruthlessly attacking, but made sure Arsenal were defensively solid. This Arsenal seemed like the legendary Invincibles of the 03-04 season. They had 50 points halfway through the season. In January, Arsenal signed midfielder Jorginho, centre-back Kiwior and forward Trossard to help keep up their momentum. They were able to lead the league for 248 days, and everything pointed to Arsenal being the champions. They were 8 points clear of second place after 29 games, but as the season continued, Arsenal slowly began to lose steam. They were still 4 points clear of City after 35 games and had just 3 more games to go, but Arsenal didn't have anything else to give. Arteta had run out of ideas and was unable to motivate his team. When it mattered, he couldn't get his team together. He didn't fully utilise his squad as he didn't trust some of his players. If he had, maybe the results would have been different. The next season, Arsenal signed Kai Havertz, Declan Rice and got David Raya on loan with a mandatory option to buy. The signing of Havertz was a bit weird. The club hierarchy believed signing him was a risk, but Arteta had an almighty tactical plan. What was Arteta cooking? Set pieces. Arteta had convinced Nicolas Chauvin to join him at Arsenal in 2021, and they had been focusing on some serious set-piece routines that needed tall players. Havertz was one of those players to fit the profile. Arsenal continued to win comfortably at times and ground out win at others. Their model was working, and when it got tough, Arsenal relied on set pieces, which worked. They ended up the league's set-piece kings with 22 goals scored with this strategy. But what started as a strategy for Arsenal has become a curse, and one of the ways Arteta could be destroying Arsenal. Now, Arsenal might not have needed to do that if Arteta had just signed a striker. Apart from his bad argument in that season's transfer window, Arteta panicked in what could have been Arsenal's most important period of the season and was unable to push his team to be more. They lost the league, lost to Bayern Munich, got knocked out of both the FA and the League Cup. It was another trophyless season for Arteta, and the 24-25 season could end up being the same. January is a big transfer window for Arsenal. Why has Arteta stacked the squad full of defensive midfielders despite having a gaping hole in attack? This is a major problem they need to fix. When Odegaard got injured, Arsenal found it difficult to be on the front foot, instead choosing to play counter-attacking football in big games. We saw this in their game against Tottenham and their explosive match against Man City. In the City game, Arsenal showed a side of themselves that many teams have been complaining against for a while now. Apart from their pragmatic approach to that game, Arsenal employed the dark arts. They tried to waste time, targeted City's core players for hard tackles, and also relied on set pieces, which has been looked at less favourably now. During set pieces, Arsenal have now resorted to blocking opponents' goalkeepers to prevent them from getting to the ball. It gets even worse. Arsenal are now so reliant on set pieces that in some matches they even create more from set pieces than they do from open play. They failed to create more than one expected goal from open play in 10 of their 15 league games this season, and in 5 of those 15 games, they've created the same or more expected goals from set pieces. When they played against Manchester United in the FA Cup, they even tried to artificially create set-piece situations by crowding the box and having their winner ping crosses into it. Have they become the new Stoke? Now Arsenal fans are split, with some still backing Arteta and other sections criticising him for making Arsenal look spineless in critical moments, making mistakes in the transfer market and relying too much on those set pieces. Creating from open play has become increasingly difficult for Arsenal. It looks like there is no room for that crazy spark of brilliance to replace the injured Saka. Even Odegaard looks out of sorts behind Jesus and Havertz. What has Arteta done, and where do Arsenal go from here? Can they still win the league this season and challenge Liverpool? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more football stories.